everybody. Good morning. Welcome to More with Mindie. I'm your host, Mindie Barnett. I'm joined by an amazing man, Paul Szyarto. And how was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was great.
Did you eat all your turkey?
I ate all my turkey, the neighbor's turkey, and if you have any turkey, bring it over.
I have to say, I like it for one day, and then I'm not one with the leftovers, but that's
Really?
fine.
That's the best part.
I know,
So,
everybody says that.
Yeah.
I know. All right, well, thank you for being here
Absolutely.
on this Monday post-Thanksgiving. Let's talk a little bit about you. Paul has an amazing story. So literally, just a little bit. Super cool. In fact, he's writing a book about it, and we'll get into that later in the show. But to that, literally, when you say you came from the streets, I say this in a very endearing way. You came from the streets, right?
I came from the streets, yes.
You're an entrepreneur times probably 20. He's involved in a variety of different businesses. You're a well sought out speaker, and I can go on and on and on and on. So anyway, let's share with everybody and me again, refresh my memory, a little bit about where you got started, you found the road to success, and all of that.
So I grew up in wonderful Union, New Jersey, and so it's kind of weird. We moved I think the count is up to 38 times,
Wow.
But before I was 17, we moved, I think it was 26 times. So we originated in Union, New Jersey, and we pretty much went all over Union County between Union, Irvington, Kenilworth, that whole zone.
Because you were kind of getting away from some evils, if you will.
Yeah, I mean,
not you, but your parents, right?
My dad was he's a pretty bad alcoholic,
right.
And it was just difficult to where every new place we went, he would get into the mode of drinking pretty badly, punching holes in walls. The whole abuse thing was there, and my mom, she would pick us up, sometimes in the middle of the night, and next thing you know, the next morning we were in a new place, new school, and so on.
That's hard.
Yeah, it's. It was. For myself and my brothers, we got to the point where it was just part of life. It was just one of those things to where you
didn't know any better.
have to move again.
Right,
So,
right. That's what you were accustomed
Yeah,
to, and
yeah.
you kind of rolled with the punches,
just
so
went
to
with
speak.
went with the punches.
Yeah,
kinda.
yeah. Sorry, bad,
So.
bad way to put it, but nevertheless, yeah.
But
I
yeah,
mean,
it was tough. So.
Yeah, you adapted.
We adapted. It's like you get that mindset in your head to where it's all about survival.
I was just going to say, which
Yeah.
basically propelled you to become a adventurous businessman at a young age, right? So talk just a little bit about that.
So I'd say my entrepreneurial, mindset began when I was probably, kindergarten time frame, to where my mom did all she could to get us things we needed, and at times there were things, as a kid you want things.
Like what would be the need versus the want for you?
I'd say need is, roof over your head, you need a place to sleep,
Socks.
you need socks, you need food. And as far as wants, I wanted G.I. Joe guys, I wanted, toys, I wanted the cool clothes, but at the time we couldn't afford those things.
Okay.
So
what did you do to try to help?
I did just about anything. As a kid, I think my first thing was, I remember in kindergarten, I think it was kindergarten or first grade, I remember watching kids play with those little G.I. Joe guys, those like little
those
4-inch
figurines.
figurines.
They were green.
Yeah,
my friends' brothers had them. Yeah.
And I wanted them so badly. It's just we couldn't afford to, my mom couldn't afford to buy me a collection. So I remember in school, I would watch the kids play with them, and I would just observe. I would look at opportunities to where, what could I do to get these? And I remember one time
without stealing them,
yeah.
Right, sure.
And I remember this one time I saw these kids playing with these paper Chinese stars, like these paper stars.
My kids do that.
And I befriended the kid who made them. Next thing you know, I'm making bags of these throwing stars.
He taught you how to create
He taught
them.
me, yeah. He gave me his IP,
Trained you.
And I think it came down to he threw one at me and it hit me and I started to cry. And to shut me up, he showed me how to make them. So I remember making bags of them, and then by the next day, I was trading for G.I. Joe guys. So that's where my collection started.
That's creative.
Yeah, so
and clever.
So I went from bartering to, drawing on pencils to selling candy in schools, and then probably developing into a more, venturous businessman with selling refurbished radios.
And how'd you get into that? Was that like high school?
That was getting into high school, yeah.
Okay. So what would you do? Find them on the street and fix it up?
Well, let's just say we didn't find them on the street. So
Okay.
let's
So
not go into those
just so
details.
happened to land in your lap, and then what would happen?
So let's just say that, radios and car parts would just happen to find their way to me, and I would, kind of refurbish.
Like radios, like the boom boxes?
No, like car radios, like stereo systems, speakers.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So,
all right. Got it.
I would, refurbish them, and then I would resell them.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
Well, not necessarily how you found them, but we won't get into that. But that's cool that you had the wherewithal and the knowledge to think. I wouldn't know what to do. Certainly.
Yeah. So you do anything. So I would stand in front of. There was a store called 6th Ave Electronics. I would actually be in the parking lot, and I would scope people. I would watch what they were looking at to buy, and then I would pull them out of the store.
And I would, hey, I have it.
Yeah, I would sell it to them outside.
With fraction of what
fraction of the cost.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Now that's very entrepreneurial in terms of your spirit and your mindset to think to do something like that.
Yeah, probably not legal, but.
Well, whatever. You take a chance.
I was 17 or 16.
We're all about taking chances at More with Mindie, right? So. It's all good. That's cool. So interesting enough that the G.I. Joe was your first coveted toy because fast forward, then you went into the Navy.
I did. At 17 years old, I actually got into a little trouble. So, and it was recommended that I join the military.
Okay.
And I remember my heart was set on going into the Marine Corps. So my dad, even though he was an abusive alcoholic, he was also an ex-Marine.
Oh,
so
really?
I grew up with this ex-Marine, tough guy, jarhead, who disciplined in his own way. And next thing I know, I was at the point where I was about to sign for the Marine Corps. Yeah. And I remember my uncle called, and it was
your dad's brother, your mom's?
No, it was actually my mom's brother. And I was just about to sign, and the phone rang, and he said, "Hey, you need to speak with the Navy." And I was like, "Okay, let me see what I could do." So the next day, I went to the Navy recruiter, and it turns out I had a really high ASVAB score, which is the military entrance exam. I scored like in the 90th percentile, whatever it was.
Oh, wow.
And originally I was going into the Marine Corps to
be a muscle.
To actually be a barber and an infantryman. So, and the Navy said to me, "What are you doing? You're a smart guy. You should be, come into the Navy. We'll get you proper schooling and this and that." So.
Was the Marines not going to provide? Would they? Don't they? I'm sorry, I don't know that much about.
Yeah, the Marines was more. They were more focused on, how can we get you into the field as quickly as possible?
Got it.
And to leverage your physical skills.
Right.
The Navy was more focused on.
Their mindset's different.
Yeah, it was more. Wow, this guy, he's a smart guy. Let's condition him. Let's nurture him down this path of, like nuclear tech, become a nuclear technician or electronics technician.
So your uncle really changed your path?
Yeah, so within one phone call, it's like I went from Marine Corps, next day Navy. And then a few months later, I was off to the Navy.
That's cool. So what, you were on a ship?
I was actually never actually on a ship.
You were never on sea?
Yeah, I was never on a ship technically. So I get into the Navy, and I joined as a nuke engineer, and I went into this this school for 6 to 10 months, and it was like super intense from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day.
Where were you stationed?
So I started in Great Lakes. So if you know anything about Great Lakes, it's like 30, 40 below zero. At the time I was there, I was freezing my butt off, walking between buildings, and I couldn't wait to get the heck out of Great Lakes, but the school that I was in, I was there for like a year and a half. So I was there just freezing my butt off for a year and a half. And so I went into this tech core program, came out as more or less an electrical engineer. So I was working on, satellite communication systems, UHF, VHF systems, and at the age of 18, 19 years old, I was commanding a work center of, millions of dollars of equipment with several resources, and it was the Navy changed my life. So the Navy took me from a path of using my entrepreneurial skills to get by on the streets, to using my my wisdom and smarts to develop into something that could be long lasting.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you do a variety of things, but with the whole like data security and all of that, it's like incredible. I'm sure that stems back to your nuclear engineering training.
Yeah.
Correct?
The Navy taught me how to essentially troubleshoot problems, and I've actually expanded that to troubleshoot life and business. So without the Navy, I probably wouldn't be who I am. So
Well, I'm sure not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how long were you with them?
So I was in the Navy for 6 years active, 2 years inactive, so total 8 years.
Okay. So when you got out,
Yep.
then what was the next step in your path to success?
So I got out of the military, and within a day after leaving the military, I was actually a mortgage broker for First Tennessee Bank. So
Okay.
I did and my reason for that was I wanted to get into real estate.
Okay.
So to get into real estate, in my eyes, was don't become a real estate broker, agent.
Yeah, right.
Understand the finances behind real estate. So
Right.
that's what I did. I became a banker to understand how to finance my way towards owning real estate.
Okay.
So I did that.
Interesting.
Yeah, and in parallel, I worked with the Army on it was called the PMO of the Army, Project Management Office, to where we worked on multi-billion-dollar initiatives as a project manager. So
Okay.
I was doing
Like
kind of parallel
double
work.
duty.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and then it took me. I was working I would turn these little businesses and this and that for 2 years until I found kind of my path down in the world of technology.
So the little businesses, you would kind of take them on, start them up, and
Yep.
kind of sell them off.
Yeah, I would build a structure, and I would try to take it to as far, to the
far
limit
as you
I
can
could.
take
Yeah, and then I
it.
would look for people that could either assume responsibility for the business, or I'd flip the business, or they would just dissolve. So.
Okay, awesome. All right, we're going to continue our conversation, find out even more
Great.
about how the path continued to grow and grow when we come right back. Stay with us.
Great.
Why should you choose Rowan College at Gloucester County? Low cost. The #1 nursing program in all of New Jersey. More than 70 programs of study, including selective admissions. With record enrollment. A premier partnership with Rowan University. Transfer options with numerous universities. 4-year degree options on our campus. Rowan College at Gloucester County. Now you're thinking.
Choosing Medicare coverage can be a very confusing and complicated process. Help is just a phone call away, 856-226-4800. As a licensed insurance agent, I'll assist you in making an informed and confident decision on a Medicare plan that meets your needs, lifestyle, and budget. Call me today for a free, no-obligation Medicare benefits consultation, 856-226-4800.
When did you see the sign?
When I needed to create a better visitor experience.
Improve our workflow.
Attract new customers. That's when Fast Signs recommended Fleet Graphics.
Yeah, now business is rolling in. Get started at fastsigns.com.
What do I want to be when I grow up? Maybe a musician? A veterinarian? Maybe an equestrian? A mommy? Well, why not be all these things and more? Consider joining me, Dr. V, with friends and colleagues as we explore a wide range of topics together. V is for variety, here on RVN TV.
There you go, Richard. Oh! Is that too hard for you?
No. Is it too hard for you?
Woo! We're playing catch now. Oh, shit.
everybody. Welcome back to More with Mindie. I'm Mindie Barnett, joined by Paul Szyarto, entrepreneur extraordinaire. And you were just talking to us a little bit about you got out of the Navy, you kind of fell into a variety, you went into mortgage, you were doing some other businesses, you'd sell them off, and then the path started to widen. So take it from there.
So it's, I would say my, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, it's like I started to develop this like mindset of like seeing opportunity to where, everyone understands opportunity gain, opportunity losses.
Right.
And for me, I started to see this like world filled with like these like bubbles. It was like kind of weird to where, everything I saw was an opportunity, whether it was a large opportunity, a small opportunity. And what I started to do was...
You had a sixth sense for,
yeah, it was like really weird.
like success?
Yeah, it was like weird to where, I wasn't afraid to like jump into things. And although I was bringing in money from the foundational activities I was doing, I started to explore some of these opportunities. And I would look at, things ranging from, resume design to, small business consulting, web design, hosting systems, doing app design. I did just about everything, to where it was, I think I've created probably 30 to maybe 50 small businesses. And
they're all over the country and internationally as well,
so
aren't they?
Yeah, so it was to the point where I would take these like little opportunities, I would try to make them bigger, and if I got to the point where they weren't succeeding or my little bubble popped, I would just move to the next thing. It was like, oh, here's more, here's more, here's more.
That didn't make you tired?
No, it like fueled me.
It's like
really
an
weird.
adrenaline
It was
rush.
like I don't sleep. I get to the point where
most entrepreneurs don't.
I'm so excited to get to the next topic. It's really weird. And now I've gotten to the point where, instead of just seeing like a room filled with bubbles, now I'm to the point where now I could actually start targeting which ones are going to grow into these massive, opportunities. So,
have you ever had a failure? Like, what do you do when you have? I mean,
I
obviously
fail all
a
the
failure.
time.
That was a silly question, but what do you do when you do fail and turn it around so that it's actually a success?
So think of it like this: to where I've worked with probably, again, 30 to 50 different opportunities, and beyond that, I've helped people with opportunities, and I would say. Failure is a stepping stone towards success. I mean, is it really a failure? I'll give you an example. I worked with a guy named Mark Anthony. He developed a system called Contours, which was a competitor to Curves, the women's fitness place.
Oh yeah, sure.
And I was helping him actually franchise that at the time. And for me, I wasn't part of the big franchise. It was a disaster in the end. But for me, what did I learn? I learned organizational skills. I learned, taxation. I learned, certain franchise laws. And now I've used that as a stepping stone for other franchises that I've developed.
Okay.
Same thing with...
What might be two off the top of your head that have been successful that we might know or know?
Well, the martial arts. The VMMA martial arts. So that's developing into a very...
And the name, go ahead.
VMMA, so it stands for Vaka Modern Martial Arts.
Okay.
So we're developing that into a franchise to where we have, kind of a turnkey, everything's in the box, website, design, curriculum, to where you could actually take this and deploy. And it's not just martial arts. It's a model to where...
You do Krav Maga.
Yeah, we do heavy Krav Maga. We do a lot of cardio type kickboxing to where we're targeting the majority of the population, not just a very niche part of the population. And a lot of people in the martial arts world, they don't understand the business aspects of bringing these things to life. So
they're just good in their craft.
Yeah, they're good on the mat.
Right.
So we've packaged it and we've brought it to the market.
And I have to say, your place is really nice.
Thank you so much.
It's gorgeous and it's clean and
Has to be
as
clean.
a mom,
Yeah.
like I've been to so many other types of places.
Yeah,
they aren't quite as high end as yours, but it's it's very nice.
Yeah.
You feel like it's a safe haven. It's a good place to go. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Well, I have to say though, that's one of the probably the best skill I've learned in the military was how to clean, because we cleaned probably
Come to my house after the
2+
show.
hours per day. So
Oh wow.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was so that's a
sure.
foundational skill you take along. But back to failure, it's failure is a stepping stone towards success. You just have to open your mind to see, what you didn't accomplish, what goals you didn't meet, but what did you meet? What did you learn during your journey to try to meet those goals? And even if you didn't hit those goals,
hit the
re-baseline,
next
pivot,
time.
change, and you go after the next thing and apply what you've learned.
Absolutely, and
So.
maybe that thing, whatever it may be, that
Yeah,
you're
you don't
hoping
know.
for, the next thing later is going to be even better, and there's a reason it
Yeah.
didn't work out this time
Yeah.
around, but it will next. So you have used all of those life lessons
Mm-hmm.
and all of your street skills and all of your knowledge, and you're now penning a book because
Yes.
you're taking your hope to help people, obviously, to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to us a little bit about that. I know it's in like mid stages, not starting,
It
not
is,
finished,
yeah.
almost finished, sort of there, right?
So the idea of the book originally was to kind of create a motivational book to help people, kind of get through the stressors of life. The idea is to teach people how to, win at the business of life.
Okay.
And, I've been through a lot of, crappy things in my life,
Sure.
and I've been able to turn those around to become somewhat successful. And so what I've done is I've taken these 10 plus ideals and I've kind of wrapped them with stories to where, normal people like us, we can understand it. You don't have to be a Jeff Bezos to understand, how to make $1 million. You
Right.
could just say, well, what are the key things I need? I need to understand stress management, basic survival skills. I need to know how to, do some basic time management. And the thing is, we take these things for granted, at the levels we're at. But, people just starting out, it comes down to, what do I really need? Where do I really need to focus? Should I just focus on this idea, or, should I be focusing on this, and that?
Right,
The bigger
right,
picture. What is the
right.
bigger picture? So it's kind of like a roadmap on, leveraging your you to become something.
So each chapter basically hits a different, like,
It does.
necessary skill
Yeah.
or tactic or issue that could come up in your road to success. So sticking on stress, because I personally have some issues with that on occasion. What would you say, like, I mean, without giving all of the juice away, your secret sauce, what would you say, like, maybe the first couple tactics might be that you could share with someone like me or anybody at home who is a business person or just dealing with everyday
So we think about stress, okay? So I'll ask you the first thing, like, what stresses you out the most?
Not meeting expectations of my clients and dealing
Okay.
with very tight deadlines on many occasions, because I work as a publicist. I work in tandem with the media, and
So
they're
if we
all on deadlines.
so if we just think about the cases that you just brought up, it comes down to planning around those stressors. So what I tell people is, stress is fearing the unknown, fearing what you can't accomplish, or being stressed about time, not getting there at the specified time that you've set an expectation for.
Sure.
It comes down to adjustments. It comes down to really sitting back and planning out the day. So what I typically do is I actually start my day off with an actual things to do list. I plan
you
out.
do
Yeah,
for
I
every
plan
day?
out everything I do.
Do you
And
get up extra early to do that too?
it's not. I don't think I get up extra early. I just, it's just,
You make sure you carve out like a few minutes in the beginning of
it's
your
just
day.
the first thing you should do is you get up and, after you make your bed, you should really sit down and
to the Navy.
Back to the Navy. You should really sit down and kind of, break down the day of, things you need to do, things you want to do, and then identify what the value drivers are, within those tasks that you're trying to accomplish.
Sure.
And I would say, the reality is you're not going to be able to accomplish everything, and you have to be flexible enough to understand that sometimes you're going to be late. Sometimes you can't control all these external factors. The thing is, create the best plan you could and try to execute towards that plan. And
Right.
that alone will alleviate a lot of the stress.
All right, so just being better organized. I
Yeah,
guess.
better organized.
What about if things pop? Well, I guess if things pop up, just to know that, okay, this is the things you want to accomplish,
Yeah.
and that want list could maybe move to Tuesday or Wednesday or next week or
it comes down to
whatever it may be.
the value drivers. When do you need to hit them? What are the dependencies around the value drivers? Another thing I do is I put myself through these visualization techniques to where, I'll put myself into a scenario. So let's say, I visualize myself being late. And for I do, and for most people, what happens? Their heart races, they start to sweat, they get
it's a
stressed.
horrible feeling. I'm
So
like,
then,
why didn't I just not leave 5 more minutes?
yeah,
Like,
why not leave 5 minutes early?
Yeah.
You could put, but also if you put yourself through that, visualizing that you're going to be late, you're preparing your body. So what happens is stress comes from the release of, certain hormones, chemicals
Yeah.
throughout your body,
Yeah.
and then you're trying to take control. You're trying to, rebalance your body and stabilize. So
Right.
if you can visualize those scenarios, you know, for example, with Krav Maga within the martial arts, you know, we go through these visualization techniques if someone's looking to attack us with, you know, a knife or a gun. You practice through those, you know, those scenarios. And when it really happens, your body's at a different level. You're calmer, you know, you're visualizing, you're seeing things differently. You're not just, you know, reacting based on fear or adrenaline. You're reacting based on, you know, your process of practice.
Because it's like a repeated behavior.
Yeah, it's a repeated behavior.
But isn't it a little bit different when it's actually happening to you versus like when you're, or is it just so you bang it into your head, you do it so much that when it, God forbid, that day does present itself, it's almost like routine?
Natural. It's natural. It's instinctual. It's, you know, you've already prepared.
Interesting.
So, I mean, it's same as business when, if you're going to be negotiating in the boardroom, so you should be visualizing, you know, this boardroom.
Controversy.
Yeah, you have to go through, you have to plan, you have to practice. And, you know, to be great with, you know, a martial arts, you have to do a technique 10,000 times.
Right.
It's the same thing in business. You know, no one's a natural, you know, business success.
Right.
You have to practice being a business success.
Right.
I mean, that's why we have failure. Failure is practice.
Right.
You know, until you
That's good, actually.
really succeed.
That's very, that should be like part of like sub chapter.
I like that. Chapter.
Like that. Like,
we have a chapter on that.
I know.
So.
I mean, that's very strong. The
Yeah.
point that you made. Failure is practice.
Yeah, failure is practice.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What other tactics would you say are important to keep in mind?
From a stress standpoint?
From stress, or just in general, like what would be the after stress? Like what would you say the next one of the bigger things would be for business people in terms of like things that are coming in their way of success?
I would say the another key thing is when it comes to running or building business, that you have to understand that life in business is cyclical. You know, it's repetitive. And when you start seeing the world as being a, you know, repetitive, you know, cycle, it's, again, practice makes perfect. And if you, for example, if you go from one job to the next, most people see it as a brand new endeavor. Right. What they should see is, okay, what are the similarities of my previous job? You know, what can I use as a foundation to start here? What can I use to ramp up quickly? You know, so I'd say creating templates and, you know, understanding that everything is a repeatable cycle, it'll also calm your stress.
That's great.
You know?
Really good advice. All right, we'll be right back, guys. Stay with us.
Cool.
Good.
Why should you choose Rowan College at Gloucester County? Low cost. The #1 nursing program in all of New Jersey. More than 70 programs of study, including selective admissions. With record enrollment. A premier partnership with Rowan University. Transfer options with numerous universities. 4-year degree options on our campus. Rowan College at Gloucester County. Now you're thinking.
You were amazing. Such great advice. I cannot wait to read your book. Are you thinking it's going to be out sometime this spring or early summer?
Probably summer,
okay.
2019.
All right. So in the meantime, Paul, look into that camera. Tell everybody where they can find you because you do speaking. You do a lot of different things. All right, go ahead.
So I'm a super busy guy. I'm all about helping you people out there. So if you are ever interested in getting in contact with me, you can reach me on my website at paulszyarto.com. That's PaulSzyarto.com.
Awesome. Thank you. You're amazing to have.
Thank you so much.
And I'll bring you back when you have your book out. We'll
Great.
talk about that. In the meantime, we will see you guys next Monday. Have a great week, and thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.